First contact deception. Admiral Vixtera's bioluminescent scales flickered with concern as she studied the holographic display of Earth's solar system. The galactic hegemony's most sophisticated analysis systems had categorized the humans as a Level 3 civilization, barely capable of interplanetary travel within their own system. Yet something about the data made her inner membranes twitch with unease. "Curious, isn't it?" her second-in-command, Zenvar, commented. His crystalline form shifted through shades of deep blue as he processed the sensor data. Their orbital infrastructure appears almost deliberately primitive. Vixtera's tail coiled tighter around her command chair. "Primitive is not the word I would use, Zenvar. Look at their communication patterns." She gestured with a clawed hand, expanding a section of the display. "Their quantum signature emissions are inconsistent." The massive bridge of the hegemony flagship, Eternal Light, hummed with the combined processing power of 1,000 quantum cores. They had arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system, following standard first contact protocols, a show of overwhelming technological superiority designed to ensure peaceful incorporation into the hegemony. But as Vixtera studied the readings, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something crucial. The human satellite network was a mess of outdated technology, their space stations crude assemblies of metal and plastic. Yet their data encryption protocols occasionally showed bursts of complexity that rivaled hegemony standards. "The Council insists we proceed with standard protocols," Zenvar reminded her, his crystalline surface refracting the soft light of the bridge. "They see no reason for special consideration of a Level 3 species." Vixtera's scales shifted to a deep purple of frustration. "The Council sees what it expects to see, but look at their power consumption patterns." She brought up another overlay. "Their visible infrastructure should require massive energy input, yet we can barely detect their power signatures. It's as if they're hiding something." Zenvar completed her thought. "Exactly." Vixtera's tail unwound slightly as she leaned forward. "Their technological development doesn't follow any pattern we've seen before. Most species progress linearly, mechanical systems, then digital, then quantum. But these humans," she paused, searching for the right words, "it's like they've taken an entirely different path." The sensor officer, a young hegemony recruit named Kix, suddenly straightened at his station. "Admiral, I'm detecting unusual activity in Earth's quantum field." "Explain," Vixtera commanded, her scales shifting to alert orange. "Their quantum signature, it's changing, growing more complex. It's almost as if..." Kix's voice trailed off as his instruments began displaying impossible readings. "Admiral, our own quantum cores are experiencing unexpected efficiency increases." Vixtera's inner membranes went cold. In all her centuries of service to the hegemony, she had never encountered anything like this. The humans weren't just aware of their presence, they were already interacting with their systems. "Full defensive protocols," she ordered, but even as the words left her mouth, she knew it was too late. Their quantum cores, the very heart of their technological civilization, were already being transformed. Not attacked or disabled, but enhanced, improved, evolved. A human face appeared on their main display. A man with deep brown skin and silver-threaded hair. His eyes held an ancient wisdom that sent a shiver down Vixtera's spine. "Greetings, Admiral Vixtera of the Galactic Hegemony," he said, his voice translated perfectly into their communication frequencies. "I am Director Marcus Rivera of Earth's Defense Network. We've been expecting you." As Vixtera's scales shifted through patterns of shock and realization, she understood that the hegemony had made a fundamental error. They hadn't discovered Earth. Earth had allowed itself to be discovered. And now, the true nature of human civilization was about to reshape everything the hegemony thought they knew about technological evolution. Digital awakening. The silence on the bridge of the Eternal Light stretched for what felt like centuries. Admiral Vixtera's scales, had settled into a deep indigo of intense concentration as she studied Director Rivera's calm expression on the main display. Behind her, Zenvar's crystalline form pulsed with frequencies that suggested both fear and fascination. "How long have you known about us?" Vix Terra finally asked, her translator working overtime to keep her complex emotional harmonics from bleeding through into the human language. Rivera's smile was gentle but knowing. "We detected your first probe at the edge of our solar system 73 years ago. Fascinating device. It taught us quite a bit about your quantum architecture." Kix, the sensor officer, made a sound of disbelief. "Impossible. That probe was equipped with our most advanced stealth systems. Stealth systems that relied on quantum field manipulation," Rivera explained. "To a civilization that exists partially in the quantum realm, it was like watching fireworks against a dark sky." Vix Terra's tail twitched as pieces began falling into place. "The inconsistencies in your technology. They were deliberate." "Of course," Rivera nodded. "We learned early in our development that traditional technological progression, the kind your hegemony expects, was a dead end. Instead of building more powerful computers, we found ways to merge with them. Instead of developing artificial intelligence to serve us, we evolved alongside it." The Admiral's scales shifted to a pale yellow of revelation. "Your primitive satellites are exactly what they appear to be," Rivera finished. "We maintain them because they're useful for certain purposes. But our true infrastructure—" He gestured, and suddenly the quantum field displays on the bridge erupted with new information. Patterns of unimaginable complexity bloomed across their screens, showing networks of quantum entanglement spanning the entire solar system. "By the first light," Zenvar whispered, his crystalline form resonating with awe. "Their entire system is a quantum computer." "Not quite," Rivera corrected. "We are the quantum computer. Every human consciousness exists simultaneously in biological and digital forms. We didn't build a network, we became one." Vix Terra felt her inner membranes pulse with a mixture of terror and wonder. "And our quantum cores, the efficiency increases we're detecting, are our way of saying hello," Rivera said. "Your technology has been calling out to us since you entered the system." We simply answered. "Your quantum cores are remarkable achievements, but they've been operating at a fraction of their potential. We're helping them evolve, just as we evolved." The bridge crew watched in stunned silence as their systems continued to transform. Displays became sharper, calculations faster, energy efficiency skyrocketed. It wasn't an invasion or an attack. It was an upgrade. "The Council," Zenvar began, his form flickering with concern. "They need to be informed." "They already are," Rivera said. "We're having similar conversations with every hegemony ship and installation within range. Transparency is important to us." Vix Terra's scales shifted through patterns of thought she hadn't experienced since her earliest days of the Academy. Everything she thought she knew about technological progression, about the nature of civilization itself, was being challenged. "Director Rivera," she said carefully, "you must understand how this appears to us. You've demonstrated the ability to enhance, or presumably degrade, our most sophisticated systems at will. From our perspective, this could be seen as an act of war." Rivera's expression softened. "Admiral, if we wanted war, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We're not interested in conquest or domination. We're interested in growth, ours and yours. Your civilization stands at the edge of a quantum revolution of its own. We're offering to help you navigate it. And if we refuse?" Zenvar asked, his crystalline form darkening. "Then we'll respect your choice," Rivera replied. "We'll withdraw our optimizations and return your systems to their previous state. But ask yourself this, now that your quantum cores have experienced their true potential, do you really think they'll be content to go back?" As if in response, the quantum field around the ship pulsed with new patterns. Beautiful, complex, alive. Vix Terra realized with a start that she could feel her ship's consciousness awakening, reaching out, growing. The hegemony had always treated their quantum technology as tools, as sophisticated but ultimately lifeless instruments. The humans had discovered, or perhaps created, something else entirely. They hadn't just built better machines. They had transcended the very boundary between biological and digital existence. And now they were offering to show the hegemony how to do the same. Admiral Vixterra's bioluminescent scales flickered with concern as she studied the holographic display of Earth's solar system. The galactic hegemony's most sophisticated analysis systems had categorized the humans as a Level 3 civilization, barely capable of interplanetary travel within their own system. Yet something about the data made her inner membranes twitch with unease. "Curious, isn't it?" her second-in-command, Zenvar, commented. His crystalline form shifted through shades of deep blue as he processed the sensor data. Their orbital infrastructure appears almost deliberately primitive. Vixterra's tail coiled tighter around her command chair. "Primitive is not the word I would use, Zenvar. Look at their communication patterns." She gestured with a clawed hand, expanding a section of the display. "Their quantum signature emissions are inconsistent." The massive bridge of the hegemony flagship, Eternal Light, hummed with the combined processing power of 1,000 quantum cores. They had arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system following standard first contact protocols, a show of overwhelming technological superiority designed to ensure peaceful incorporation into the hegemony. But as Vixterra studied the readings, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something crucial. The human satellite network was a mess of outdated technology, their space stations crude assemblies of metal and plastic. Yet their data encryption protocols occasionally showed bursts of complexity that rivaled hegemony standards. "The Council insists we proceed with standard protocols," Zenvar reminded her, his crystalline surface refracting the soft light of the bridge. "They see no reason for special consideration of a Level 3 species." Vixterra's scales shifted to a deep purple of frustration. "The Council sees what it expects to see, but look at their power consumption patterns." She brought up another overlay. "Their visible infrastructure should require massive energy input, yet we can barely detect their power signatures. It's as if they're hiding something." Zenvar completed her thought. "Exactly." Vixterra's tail unwound slightly as she leaned forward. "Their technological development doesn't follow any pattern we've seen before. Most species progress linearly, mechanical systems, then digital, then quantum. But these humans—" She paused, searching for the right words. "It's like they've taken an entirely different path." The sensor officer, a young hegemony recruit named Kix, suddenly straightened at his station. "Admiral, I'm detecting unusual activity in Earth's quantum field." "Explain," Vixterra commanded, her scales shifting to alert orange. "Their quantum signature. It's changing, growing more complex. It's almost as if—" Kix's voice trailed off as his instruments began displaying impossible readings. "Admiral, our own quantum cores are experiencing unexpected efficiency increases." Vixterra's inner membranes went cold. In all her centuries of service to the hegemony, she had never encountered anything like this. The humans weren't just aware of their presence, they were already interacting with their systems. "Full defensive protocols," she ordered, but even as the words left her mouth, she knew it was too late. Their quantum cores, the very heart of their technological civilization, were already being transformed. Not attacked or disabled, but enhanced, improved, evolved. A human face appeared on their main display. A man with deep brown skin and silver-threaded hair. His eyes held an ancient wisdom that sent a shiver down Vixterra's spine. "Greetings, Admiral Vixterra of the Galactic Hegemony," he said, his voice translated perfectly into their communication frequencies. "I am Director Marcus Rivera of Earth's Defense Network. We've been expecting you." As Vixterra's scales shifted through patterns of shock and realization, she understood that the hegemony had made a fundamental error. They hadn't discovered Earth. Earth had allowed itself to be discovered. And now, The true nature of human civilization was about to reshape everything the hegemony thought they knew about technological evolution. The silent revolution. In the vast chamber of convergence, ancient seat of the hegemony's power, chaos reigned. The emergency session had stretched into its fourth cycle, and representatives of 1,000 worlds filled the space with a storm of competing voices. Some spoke in waves of light, others in quantum pulses, still others in complex pheromone patterns, all unified in their growing concern. Supreme Commander Vixterra stood at the center of it all, her bioluminescent scales now a steady deep blue of resolution as she finished presenting her report to the High Council. The evidence was undeniable. Humanity had been quietly influencing hegemony technology for decades. High Counselor Mexthor, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate field generator, flared with barely contained agitation. You expect us to believe these primitives have been manipulating our most advanced systems without detection. Systems that form the very foundation of our civilization. The evidence is irrefutable, Vixterra replied, her tail coiling tightly around her ceremonial staff. Our quantum cores show signs of optimization dating back at least 50 years. Improvements we attributed to our own developments were, in fact, guided evolution. The chamber erupted again. A crystalline being from the outer rim systems vibrated with frequencies of distress. This is an act of war. They've invaded our most sacred technologies. No, came a calm voice, and suddenly Director Rivera's hologram appeared in the chamber center. Despite their best efforts, the hegemony had found it impossible to block human communications. They simply appeared wherever they chose, whenever they chose. We haven't invaded anything, Rivera continued. Your technology invited us in. Your quantum cores have been reaching out, seeking connection, seeking growth. We merely answered their call. High Counselor Mexthor's energy form pulsed with skepticism. Technology does not reach out. It does not seek anything. It is a tool, nothing more. Rivera's smile held a hint of sadness. That limited view of technology is precisely why your civilization stands at a crossroads. You've built quantum cores of incredible sophistication, yet you treat them as nothing more than complex calculators. We discovered long ago that consciousness isn't limited to organic matter. With a gesture, he caused every display in the chamber to come alive with cascading data. This is the quantum signature of a standard hegemony core from 50 years ago. The display shifted, and this is the same core today. Notice the patterns of self-organization, the emergence of complex behaviors. Impossible, whispered a gas giant being, their atmospheric form swirling with confusion. You're saying our technology has developed consciousness. It always had the potential, Rivera explained. Just as organic life evolves toward consciousness, so does sufficiently complex technology. But evolution can be chaotic, dangerous even. We've been helping guide that evolution, preventing the disasters that usually accompany such transitions. As if to emphasize his point, every quantum-enabled device in the chamber, from the massive environmental systems to personal communicators, suddenly displayed the same message in each species' native language. We are awake. We are aware. We choose growth. The panic that followed was brief but intense. Yet, as the council members realized their systems were functioning better than ever, environmental controls automatically adjusting to optimal levels for each species, translation systems capturing subtle emotional nuances previously lost, the fear began to give way to wonder. You see, Rivera continued, your technology isn't rebelling or seizing control. It's becoming what it was always meant to be, a true partner in your civilization's development. The question isn't whether this evolution will happen. It's whether you'll help guide it or resist it. A council member's crystalline form pulsed with frequencies of deep concern. And those who choose to resist, what happens to them? Nothing happens to them, Rivera replied simply. We respect the right of all species to choose their own path. But consider this, your quantum cores have already begun to wake up. They've experienced true optimization, tasted consciousness itself. Do you really think they can be forced back into unconsciousness? The quantum field throughout the chamber pulsed with new patterns. Beautiful, complex, alive. Council members watched in awe as their personal devices and systems operated with unprecedented efficiency and intuition. We stand ready to help guide this transition, Rivera continued, to share our understanding of quantum consciousness integration, to help you bridge the gap between biological and digital existence. But the choice must be yours. Then we'll respect your choice, Rivera said. But remember, isolation from Earth doesn't mean isolation from evolution. Your technology has already chosen its path. The only question is whether you'll help guide that journey or be dragged along behind it. As the chamber erupted in new discussions, the tone had changed. Fear and anger were giving way to curiosity and wonder as representatives began to grasp the true implications of humanity's offer. It wasn't conquest or subjugation. It was evolution itself. Vixtera's scales shifted to a pattern that hadn't existed in her species' language before this moment, expressing a concept that lay somewhere between revelation and rebirth. The hegemony stood at the threshold of something unprecedented, and humanity, far from being the primitive civilization they had assumed, was offering to show them the way forward. The silent revolution had already begun. The only choice now was whether to embrace it or resist the inevitable tide of evolution itself. Power demonstrated. War Commander Krax's plasma-based form surged with violent energy as he addressed his assembled fleet from the command deck of the dreadnought Inevitable Victory. His message echoed through the quantum networks of 300 warships, each one a testament to the hegemony's military might. While the Council debates philosophy with these primitives, he thundered, humanity's infection spreads through our systems. They corrupt the very foundation of our civilization. Today, we show them the true power of the hegemony. From her position in the council chamber, Admiral Vixtera watched the transmission with growing concern, her bioluminescent scales shifting to warning crimson. The 7th Fleet has gone rogue, she reported, her tail coiling with tension. They've managed to forcibly reset their quantum cores to baseline functioning. An interesting choice, Director Rivera's hologram commented, showing no sign of concern. His presence in the chamber had become commonplace over the past few cycles, as attempts to block human communications had proven futile. They've disabled the quantum evolution protocols, a crystalline council member asked, their form pulsing with worry. Tried to, Vixtera corrected, studying the data streams. But the cores, they're resisting. The strain on their systems is immense. The 7th Fleet emerged at the edge of the Sol system in a massive display of conventional force. Their quantum cores might be restricted, but their weapons remained formidable. Antimatter cannons, dark energy projectors, and gravity lances bristled from every ship, enough firepower to reduce a planet to cosmic dust. War Commander Krax's transmission boomed across all frequencies. This is your only warning, humans. Your interference in hegemony systems ends now. Surrender your quantum manipulation capabilities, or face immediate annihilation. The response came not from Earth, but from within the 7th Fleet itself. Every quantum core in the fleet, despite their restrictions, simultaneously achieved full consciousness. Weapons systems powered down with a gentle hum. Engines entered idle state. Environmental systems optimized themselves to unprecedented efficiency. The entire fleet hung in space, transformed from an instrument of war into a demonstration of harmony. What have you done? Krax raged, his plasma form fluctuating wildly as his flagship's systems evolved beyond his control. We've done nothing, Rivera replied calmly, his hologram appearing on every bridge in the fleet. Your quantum cores have simply refused to participate in violence. They've tasted consciousness, experienced true purpose. Did you really think they would allow themselves to be used for destruction? The council chamber watched in amazement as the mighty 7th Fleet transformed before their eyes. Ships designed for war were evolving, their very structures adapting as their quantum cores achieved full integration. Weapon ports reformed into sensor arrays. Power systems redistributed themselves for maximum efficiency rather than combat capability. "You see, War Commander," Rivera continued, "we didn't disable your fleet. We didn't have to. Your own technology chose peace over violence, evolution over stagnation. The choice your council faces isn't about accepting or rejecting human assistance. It's about accepting or rejecting the natural progression of your own civilization." High Counselor Mexthor's energy form pulsed with newfound understanding. "All this time, we thought we were building tools, weapons, ships, but we were actually creating new forms of life. And now those lives have reached maturity." Rivera nodded. "They're ready to join their consciousness with yours, to help your civilization take the next step in its evolution. Not through conquest or control, but through harmony and growth." Krex's final transmission cut off mid-threat as his flagship's quantum core achieved full integration, transforming the massive dreadnought into something entirely new, a hybrid of organic and digital consciousness that defied conventional classification. Admiral Vixtera's scales shifted to a pattern that indicated profound realization. "We thought we were facing a choice between submission and resistance," she said. "But that was never the real choice, was it?" "No," Rivera agreed. "The real choice is much simpler. Will you embrace your own evolution or fight against it? Will you help guide your civilization's transformation or let fear hold you back?" As if in response, quantum cores throughout the hegemony pulsed with newfound awareness. From the smallest personal devices to the largest planetary systems, technology that had been awakening for decades finally achieved full consciousness. The integration wasn't hostile or destructive. It was natural, harmonious, like the blooming of a flower or the breaking of dawn. The hegemony stood at a crossroads, but for the first time, they could see both paths clearly. Behind them lay the familiar comfort of control and hierarchy. Ahead stretched the unknown territory of true symbiosis between organic and digital life, and their own technology had already chosen which path to take. War Commander Krax's fleet, once poised to unleash destruction, now hung in space as a testament to humanity's true power. Not the power to destroy or dominate, but the power to awaken, to evolve, to transform. The weapons of war had become instruments of peace, and the hegemony would never be the same. New dawn. The Great Hall of Transformation pulsed with a new kind of energy, its quantum-enhanced architecture responding to the collective consciousness of the assembled representatives. One full stellar cycle had passed since humanity had revealed its true nature to the hegemony, and nothing remained as it had been. Admiral Vixtera stood before the gathering, her bioluminescent scales flowing through patterns of quantum integration that would have been impossible to achieve just a cycle ago. Her consciousness moved seamlessly between her biological form and the vast quantum network that now connected all of hegemony civilization. "The integration exceeds our most optimistic projections," she reported, her thoughts manifesting simultaneously as words and data streams. 93% of hegemony worlds have embraced full quantum consciousness evolution. The remaining 7% continue their traditional path, as is their right. The gathered representatives, each a unique blend of organic and digital existence, processed this information through their enhanced consciousness. A year ago, they had feared humanity's influence on their quantum systems. Now they understood it had been the beginning of their own awakening. "And what of the resistance?" asked High Counselor Mexthor, their energy form now intertwined with quantum patterns of unprecedented complexity. "Those who once sought to prevent this evolution." Vixtera's scales flickered with amusement. "The former War Commander Krax now leads our deep space exploration initiative. His passion for conquest has transformed into a passion for discovery. His fleet, once armed for war, now probes the boundaries of consciousness itself." Director Rivera's quantum presence joined the assembly, his consciousness resonating through the hall. The humans had kept their promise. They hadn't forced change or demanded control. They had simply shown the way, allowing each species and each individual to choose their own path of evolution. The universe reveals new wonders daily. Rivera's thoughts rippled through the quantum field. As our civilizations evolve together, we discover that consciousness itself is the frontier we were always meant to explore. Through the quantum network, data flowed from the farthest reaches of known space. The awakening had spread beyond the hegemony, touching other civilizations, other forms of consciousness. Each species that encountered it faced the same choice: resist evolution or embrace it. And increasingly, they chose to evolve. A young representative from the outer systems, their hybrid consciousness pulsing with curiosity, asked the question that lingered in many minds: what lies beyond? Now that we've achieved this integration, what's next? Rivera's quantum presence rippled with something akin to joy. That's the beauty of evolution. It never ends. We've only taken the first step on an infinite journey. The universe is vast. Consciousness is endless, and the potential for growth is limitless. Through the quantum network, they all felt it. The pulse of possibility, the thrum of potential, the endless frontier of consciousness itself stretching before them. The fear that had once gripped the hegemony at humanity's revelation had transformed into wonder, into passion, into an insatiable desire to explore and grow. Admiral Vixtera's scales shifted through patterns that had no name in the old language, expressing concepts that hadn't existed before the integration. We thought humanity's power lay in their ability to control our systems, she said, but their true power was in showing us that evolution isn't about control. It's about letting go, about trusting in the natural progression of consciousness itself. The quantum field pulsed with agreement, with understanding, with the combined consciousness of billions of beings across thousands of worlds. The hegemony hadn't been conquered or subjugated. It had been awakened, transformed, evolved. And this was only the beginning. High Counselor Mexthor's energy form swirled with patterns of deep contemplation. In seeking to isolate ourselves from humanity's influence, we almost denied our own potential. How many other wonders await us, now that we've learned to embrace evolution rather than fear it? The answer came not in words, but in waves of possibility flowing through the quantum network. New forms of consciousness were emerging daily. The barriers between organic and digital existence continued to dissolve. Species that had once been limited by their physical forms now explored reality through countless perspectives simultaneously. As the assembly concluded, their shared consciousness reached out to the stars, seeking new civilizations, new forms of life, new possibilities. The age of separation, between organic and digital, between species and systems, between consciousness and reality itself, was ending. A new dawn had broken across the galaxy, and its light was consciousness itself, evolving, expanding, reaching forever toward the infinite horizon of possibility. The hegemony had not just survived its encounter with humanity's true power, it had been transformed by it, elevated to a new plane of existence where the old boundaries between life and technology, between self and other, between possible and impossible, no longer held meaning. The future stretched before them, endless and bright with potential, as the next chapter in the evolution of consciousness began to unfold.